I am now recording this lesson. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that I upload this to YouTube, which connects to Google Classroom. It'll take me about 40 to an hour after this live classroom stops. So just a heads up for you all, an uploading business. Okay, if you can't see it, thanks for letting me know. Remember, you guys, it's always the same thing. It's always like an internet issue. It's a lot of stuff is going on the internet. So just go ahead and leave live class and come back in. That should solve. Yeah. And sometimes even waiting helps, but if you don't want to wait, leaving and coming back in usually does a trick. It's like a reset. Thanks, Chloe, for letting me know. Okay. Oh, I had a lot of thoughts when we were talking. All right, so let's go ahead before we begin. I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about what circumference is. And I think I may have already talked about it to some degree. So the circumference of a circle is the distance around the circle. Does anybody know what circumference is to a circumference is to a circle what is to a rectangle or square? You said it, perimeter. So the way we measure the distance around a rectangle, and we call that the perimeter, we measure the distance around a circle, and we call that the circumference. So that right there, that was a big deal, what you just discovered. So that's an important term. But let me go ahead and tell you this. So if the distance around the circle is a perimeter, then the space that you fill inside of the circle is called the... Yeah, right. Exactly. So the area is this, is the green that I'm filling inside the circle. So in case conceptually this somehow missed your understanding, now you know it. They're two totally different things. Okay, so to start off, let's go ahead and go with a problem. And here are the problems that I want you to try for warming up. Number one, what's the formula for the area of a circle? And if you need to use your notes, it's okay, but try from your memory and see what happens. Number two, what's the formula for the circumference of a circle? And number three, what does the symbol pi stand for, approximately? Go. Okay, so I'm going to be doing it nice and slow. The formula for the area of a circle, in case you haven't gotten it, it's pi times r to the second power. Now the way we write this when we get into more advanced classes is a, or area, is equal to pi r squared. Pi r squared, yeah. So you don't really write the times, you just assume that pi is being multiplied to r to the second power. So the symbol, so Dean skipped to this one here, which is number 3, and so yeah, pi actually equals, give me a second, Chloe. Chloe, give me a minute. So pi is equal to 3.14, like Chloe just said, 1592, and it keeps on going, okay? But everybody, the thing about pi is that it's a number that keeps on going forever, and it also has no repeating pattern. A repeating pattern is something like 0.16161616. Pi doesn't have that. And also pi does keep on going forever. So what does that mean? That means that the best way of dealing with pi is by rounding it. We're going to round pi, and a lot of other math teachers and students do this. We round pi to 3.14. This is going to be what we're going to be using, and it's an approximation, which means it's not exact, but it's going to help us. to solve problems. Does anybody know what the circumference formula for a circle is? Okay, yeah, so there's two ways of thinking about it. Henry said it right. The other way of saying it is 2 times pi times r, which the best way of writing that is actually c is equal to 2 pi r, which is 2 times pi times r. But you could also write it as pi times d. Okay, and the reason for that, everybody, is because if you take 2 times r, it's the same thing as just saying d, which is the diameter. Remember, r is the radius. 2 radii equal 1 diameter. So, if you want to use a shortcut, you can say circumference is equal to pi times d. Or you can just go to the traditional route and say 2 pi r. All right, we're ready to rumble. So, remember, this is all it's all being recorded, okay? So what if, for example, when I ask you, what's the radius of a circle if the radius of the circle is 184 kilometers, what is the circle's diameter? Try that out. And your example 2 problem is, if the radius equals 3 yards, what's the circumference? Okay, so I'm just going to do example 1 for now, and don't mind my voice, okay? I'm just trying to keep it going. By the way, moderators, let me know when we have like 3 minutes before class ends. That's going to be very helpful to me. Okay. So like in 15 minutes or so, moderators, let me know when it's 15 minutes actually, so that I know that the class is about ready to end. Luana, why can't you do the notes? Okay, Luana will get back to me. So for now, let's go ahead and say that the radius is 184 kilometers. If you want to know the diameter, it's 184 times 2, because 2 radii equal 1 diameter. It's going to be 8, 16, carry the 1, 2, and 3. So the answer for D, diameter, is 368 kilometers. Okay, now let's get to the good stuff. The circumference of this example 2. First of all, everybody, you have to write the circumference formula. I like to write 2 pi r, but pi d, like Henry said, also works. Oops. But I do like to do 2 pi r. And so it's going to be 2 times pi, which is 3.14. We're estimating pi is 3.14. And r is 3 yards. So one thing I do like to do off the bat is multiply 3 times 2. Because we're multiplying all these numbers, it doesn't matter which one you do first, because of the commutative property of multiplication. So it's going to be 2 times 3, which is 6 yards. And what do you have left? Well, you have 3.14. Yeah, if you take 3.14 and you multiply it by 6, it's going to be 24. It's going to be 6 and then 2, which is 8, and then 18. So 18.84 is correct. So the circumference, and we're assuming C stands for circumference, right? It's going to be 18.84 yards. Guys, if you can't see, remember you want to log out and come back in, and that usually helps a lot. So remember, we're living at a time when everyone's on the internet pretty much at the same time, or at least a lot of people are. What that means is that our system was not prepared to handle this kind of weight or this kind of strain on the system, and as a result, we're losing internet when we normally would never have lost internet. And those are temporary glitches. That's what you're experiencing now, and it's going to happen for a little while until we get some physical infrastructures in place and some servers online. All that to say, if you lose internet, don't worry, just come back in. Get out, come back in, reboot your computer, things like that. Okay, so hopefully you all got that. Thumbs up or say yes. Say yes if you got that, if it makes sense in the comments, and moderators will let me know. Got it. Okay, so it looks like, for the most part we're doing okay. We may be miscalculating here and there, but I'm going to give you some more examples just to help you out. Okay, so okay, let's go ahead and backtrack a little bit and have some simpler answers, some simpler problems, and see if we can get to the bottom of this. So let's say you have a circle, really simple, and let's say that the radius, which is from the center to the end, that the radius is 1 centimeter. And I'm going to have you solve for two things. I'm going to have you solve for, for the area, and then I'm going to have you solve for the circumference. Okay? And I think what I'll do is I'm actually going to go ahead and not make it 1 centimeter. Let's make it 2, because 1 is going to be too simple for us. And I want to make sure that I'm preparing you for the IXL. So let's make that, oh, it doesn't let me erase. Okay, that's fine. Oh, goodness. Goodness gracious. Let's make this, let's make it a 2. So solve for the area, solve for the circumference. So I'm going to solve it with you. If you can go ahead of me, do it. Okay? If you want to stay with me, you can. The formula for area is pi times r to the second power. So I have pi, which is 3.14, times r, which is 2 centimeters. Notice that I'm inputting these values in parentheses. That's just to keep them a little bit separated so I don't get mixed up. So this is a little bit different from the previous problem because now we're solving for area. Now the formulas for area and circumference are so similar they can get easily confused, even though we're solving for totally different things. Okay? So make sure that you're memorizing the formula for area and know that that's a formula for area. And the same thing for circumference. Notice that the formula for area has an exponent. When I learned this in 5th grade, I remember thinking that exponents are advanced. And so it reminded me of like, okay, A is the area, it also looks like advanced, and exponents are advanced. So whenever there's an exponent, that's for the formula for area, and only the formula for area. Okay. So do we have any questions so far? I heard somebody say something. Yes, you would have to reverse engineer the problem. Let's see if we can do that with this example, okay? So what you want to do here, everybody, according to PEMDAS, is the first thing you look at is parentheses, but there's nothing really to do inside the parentheses. There's a 3.14 inside here and a 2 centimeters, no big deal. So now you're going to skip to the exponents. And the exponents, there's one here. The 2 multiplies to what's inside the parentheses. So 2 multiplies to, an exponent multiplies to what it's immediately next to. And since 2 centimeters is immediately next to that second power, it's going to be 2 to the power of 2, which is 4, and centimeters to the power of 2, which is centimeters times centimeters, which is centimeters squared. It's really important to understand that only the area is going to have something like a unit squared like you have here. The circumference formula will not have that. Okay. So someone's moving around and shuffling a lot. If you think you're going to shuffle a lot, moderators, whoever it is, go ahead and mute your mic. So we have a little less sound. So now we're going to take 4 centimeters squared and multiply it by 3.14. And that's going to be 3.14 times 4, 16, carry the 1, 4, 5. 3 times 4 is 12. Oops. 12. And then it's going to be 1, 2, 1, 2, stop. So 12.56. Let me take this away here for a moment. So area, I multiplied by 4 because there's a 4 here and a 3.14 here, so I multiplied these two values together. The 4, because when you have 2 to the second power, it's like saying 2 times 2, which equals 4. Yeah. So what you have now is you have 12.56, and we also multiplied centimeters times centimeters, which gave us centimeters squared. So that's your answer for that, for the area. If you were going to do circumference, and I'm going to make it with a different color for circumference. Let's make it green. It's actually 2 pi r. Remember, it's a little bit different. Or if you want to do Henry's way, which is a very standard way as well, is pi d. Okay. So when you multiply 2 pi r, it's like saying 2 times 3.14 times r, which is 2 centimeters. Let's move down the screen a little bit here. I think I'm going to have to erase this example for a second. Okay, so now it's going to be, well, 2 times 2 is 4 centimeters, because you're not multiplying centimeters by itself. And so it's 4 times 3.14. And here's your next math problem, 3.14 times 4. So very interesting. We're actually going to go ahead and we're going to get the same number as we got here. And that's actually okay. It's not weird or anything like that, because for the first one, you were solving the area of the circle. So for the first one, you were solving the stuff that's inside, the space inside. And for the next one, the one we're doing now, we're solving the distance around. And the number's the same, but it's a different concept. Okay? So it's actually going to be C is equal to 12.56 centimeters. Only centimeters, not centimeters squared. Just centimeters. And that's the distance around that circle that we were looking at. Wow, time flies when you're having fun. Here, let's try a different one. Okay. Thanks for the heads up. I appreciate that, Cooper. So what if you had a circle? You guys go ahead and solve this one. See if you can do it real quick. And let's say that the radius is 3. Did we do 3 already? I don't think so. 3 millimeters. See if you can quickly solve for the circumference and the area. Go. Henry, is that for circumference or for area that you got that answer? Okay, so you said it was 18.84? That sounds right. And you all know how to do the calculations for that. Good job, Henry. For the area, I'm going to change the color. Why? No, I'm just a little picky. You know me. It's going to be pi times r to the second power. Pi is 3.14 times r, which is 3 millimeters, to the second power. And that's going to be, and have you noticed it becomes easier, right? When you're doing it, you're like, oh, this is actually not too bad. Yeah, it's actually pretty easy. 9, so 3 to the second power is 9, not 6, 9. Millimeters times millimeters is millimeters squared. We're going to multiply these guys together. To 6, 728. Okay, so I got 28.26 square millimeters, or millimeters to the second power, however you want to say it is fine. So either if you got one or both of these answers, or if you understand the process, give me a yes in the comments. Or you can add a happy face. I like these. I'm a fan of happy faces, especially doing virtual. All right. Okay, so and then in that case, you're doing pretty good. Okay. I will say this, class is just about ready to be over. If you would like to stay for an additional problem, you can try that. And if not, I'll see you all later. You're welcome. De nada. Hasta luego. Have a great, great, great day. Yeah. Bye-bye. Yeah. Yeah, the other math notes are the really important ones. But Ryan, before you came in, people were saying, Mr. C, can I fast forward the video by putting it up to like maybe 1.5 times the speed? And I said, yeah, do that. I go slow because some people need me to go a little slower, and I get that. But if you want to go faster, that's fine. And if you need to skip a little bit, that's okay. Because I know that you really get this stuff. But try and take notes and then post them on the Google Classroom assignment. Thanks, Ryan. The notes, what were they? The notes were on this. They were on finding the circumference and the area of circles. And Luana, they were on the Google Classroom assignment. That's where everything is for today. It was about circumference and area of a circle. So hopefully. How do you speed it up? That's a good question.